Okay, we are live.
Welcome to Ahmed's Open Classroom, When Humanity Cries, Responding to Medical Genocide and Colonial Impunity. I'd like to begin this open classroom by acknowledging that our university campus, San Francisco State University, occupies the stolen unceded indigenous land of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, to continue to live on this land and experience continued acts of displacement. The students and the faculty at the university benefit from the occupation of the land, and we have a responsibility to bring this experience into our discussion on imperialism and occupation and commitment to defeat the settler colonial project in the US. Before we start, I'd like to thank everyone who made this open classroom possible. I would like to thank my colleague and co-organizer, esteemed scholar and organic intellectual, Dr. Rabab Abdulhadi, as well as all the distinguished panelists. It is a great honor and privilege to have them here today. We will introduce them to you shortly. And we would also like to thank the Ahmed team, including Lynn Asari and Leit Goram, for setting up the Stream Live event and sharing their excellent knowledge in promoting publicity, reaching out to our communities and beyond. We would also like to thank especially to our co-sponsors, Ahmed, Arab Muslim Ethnicities and Diaspora Studies, Teaching Palestine, Pedagogical Praxis and the Indivisibility of Justice, Doctors Against Genocide, Executive Leadership of Academic Medicine, Women and Gender Studies Department, San Francisco State University. Students from our classes are joining us today. Those are students from Dr. Abdulhadi's classes on Palestine, Islamophobia, and Comparative Border Studies, Palestine and Mexico. Also, my students in my class, WGS 593, Gender, Health, and the Environment, are here. If there are students and instructors from other classes who are joining us today, please let us know in the chat. Dr. Abdulhadi? You're muted, Dr. Abdulhadi.
Good morning. I also share the acknowledgement by Dr. Kinakawa. I'm on the East Coast on the Lenape people's land, and I make the acknowledgement as an indigenous Palestinian with Dr. Kinakawa. I share the commitment to land back for indigenous people on Turtle Island in these lands as much as I share the commitment for land back for the Palestinian people and in defying the settler colonial project of Zionism in Palestine and of settler colonialism in the US and anywhere in the world. I take a moment of silence with everybody here for all the fallen and the martyrs in Gaza, in the West Bank, and throughout Palestine, Lebanon, Kashmir, Cuba, Puerto Rico, the United States of the United States, anywhere around the world, those who have fallen before and those who are falling today. We stand on their shoulders. We remember the struggle that they have sacrificed their lives for, and we continue their legacy. I'm very happy to be here today. I'm the director and senior scholar of the Arab and Muslim Ethnicity and Diaspora Studies at San Francisco State University. I'm also honored to be co-sponsoring this open classroom with Dr. Kinakawa's Women in Gender Studies class and also with all of you. This is the first time we come together with Doctors Against Apartheid. We have watched all the work that you're doing. We also have followed the work that you're doing in supporting Gaza and resisting apartheid. We have followed the work that the students in medicine from Elam in Cuba who are participating with us. And this is a program that was made possible because of Cuban solidarity with Palestine, where 450 scholarships for Palestinian students to study medicine in Cuba were given to Palestinians by the Cuban government as a sign of solidarity. Students learn, get trained, and then they go back to their homelands to study and learn with each other. So I'm very happy to do that. I wanted to say a few things about. I'm doing the welcoming now, or we're moving along, right? Okay, so that's what I'm saying now, and I'm very happy to be here, but also very saddened by the genocide that is ongoing and by the escalating repression that we're witnessing here in the United States and we're witnessing around the world to try to silence Palestine and to stop the voices of support and solidarity with the heroic people and resistance of Palestine. But we know that's not going to be able to stop us. I turn it back over to my colleague, Dr. Kinakawa.
Thank you. So, so we would like to start the program, and we would like to do a couple of rounds among us. And first, we would like to introduce ourselves, our groups, our organizations, and would like to share our statements and analysis coming from different perspectives of each of us. And after we do that, we would like to do our second round where we will ask questions to each other and also comment to each other. And then we'd like to open this up to Q&A and take questions from you, from the audience, and then we'd like to conclude the open classroom. So I guess should I go ahead? Should I go first? So I'd like to start to explain like how this open classroom came about, but also I'd like to read a couple of updates that we are receiving about Gaza, so I'd like to start with reading a report by RDH Network in Defense of Humanity, Cuba, to about the Gaza, which the news was shared by Dr. Abdul Hadi with us. And so the Director General of Gaza's Health Ministry, Munir al-Bush, says hunger has been added to the cause of death for children in the Palestinian territory that is subject to genocidal Israeli war and blockade. At least 53 children have lost their lives due to malnutrition caused by Israel's crime of deliberate starvation of people in the Gaza Strip. He added, Israel unleashed its brutal Gaza onslaught on October 7, 2023. So far, that offensive has killed at least 51,240 Palestinians, mostly women and children, and injured 116,931 others. Israel is also intentionally targeting Gaza ambulances, hospitals, and medical workers while blocking the entry of all humanitarian aid into the territory. Bush said the health system of the Gaza Strip has been collapsed under the inhumane Israeli siege, which has caused several shortages of medicines, severe shortages of medicines and electricity. Quote, we are providing healthcare under the hardest, most extreme conditions, with 18 out of 38 Gaza hospitals still partially operating, he pointed out. The official further said that 1,400 medics, including 150 doctors and 221 nurses, have been killed in the ongoing Israeli genocide in Gaza. Denouncing the Israeli war of extermination and the international community's inaction, he said the occupying regime is deliberately targeting children. Also, another news media, Middle East Eye, just yesterday reported that British Palestinian reconstructive surgeon Dr. Ghassan Absida shared how his experience in Gaza and Lebanon differs from wars elsewhere, because when at war with Israel, quote, you are in the front line by being in a hospital. Calling the hospital the most dangerous place, he added that Israel's bombing of healthcare infrastructure was not a side tactic, but part of its military doctrine. And also, I'd like to add that the UN has also demanded a formal investigation of Israel because of mass graves littered with people, including children, that have been found around hospitals destroyed by Israel. Many martyrs are left with their hands tied behind their backs and with evidence of being summarily executed. And later we will receive more updates, including incarceration of healthcare workers along with others in Israel prisons, or more accurately, torture and death camps. So I co-organized and co-conceptualized this open classroom with Dr. Rabab Abdulhadi while learning from urgent calls and interventions made by Palestinian health professionals both in Gaza, the rest of Palestine, and in diaspora, including all the esteemed panelists here today. I'd like to briefly make 2 points. First point about medical genocide, and second point about colonial impunity. Both are in the title of the open classroom. In his critique of Israel's war biosphere in the current genocide, Dr. Absita highlighted the important history of health system or health struggle, which formed an essential part of the Palestinian liberation struggle. And I'd like to talk about this a little bit since as a critical science scholar, my work has focused on researching the critical interconnectedness among anti-colonial resistance, the war of liberation, revolution, and medical and healthcare, while highlighting and comparing the centrality of health system in indigenous and anti-colonial movements, including Palestinian movements and also my own community Zionist Korean health movement, the Algerian National Liberation Front and their health movements. And then we are learning about Cuba today, later, and also movements in the Turtle Islands, including those by Black Panther Party, Young Lords, Brown Berets, Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, and so forth. The list goes on. And Black Panther Party, for example, emphasized rights for health as one of their 10 points program and conceived their health struggles as an essential part of their survival program, along with defense of their communities from the genocidal police violence. It is critical for us to restore the history of those movements, including that in Palestine, against the massive colonial and imperial repression, which have distorted the history of the movements and suppressed our knowledge of the centrality of health in all those movements. Restoring the history of health as part of anti-colonial insurgencies in those movements is essential in our collective condemnation and resistance against Israel's brutal and savage attacks on Palestinian health professionals, patients, and health systems. And they are breaking all the existing international laws as well as the most basic sense of humanity. And in the title, Dr. Abdulhadi called it medical genocide. So I guess I will make my second point about the colonial impunity in the second round, and I will pass this to Dr. Abdulhadi.
Thank you, Dr. Kinakawa, for bringing up this analysis that we've discussed and worked on around the whole history of. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The history of how settler colonial regimes, in particular, and colonial regimes have historically attempted to crush political movements and resistance movements through multiple ways. One of the ways by depriving communities of their health necessities and needs. And we are witnessing today what's happening in Palestine, a total genocide. And it's apt that Doctors Against Genocide have named what it is and came right out to this movement. Zionist movement has tried by all means to crush and eliminate the Palestinian people and has in everything by culture, by displacement, by changing the ecological environmental situation through a reproductive genocide, now by ending the children of the future of Palestine by depriving hospitals, and that is something that the doctors can speak about. And movements, resistance movement, have sought to do everything they can in order to preserve the population's health, the mental and the psychological and the physical health, as well as the health of the environment and the space. My colleague has already mentioned the movement that I have done. So, if we want to talk about Algeria, also we can. There is a lot of documentation, and we are coming upon the 100th birthday of Frantz Fanon, over which we will be commemorating his birthday along with many others and many other leaders who have been assassinated. And we really need to ask, why is it that health uh, doctors and healers are constantly have been uh, killed? Dr. Abu Sitte also says something that relates very much to what we are doing. He says the wound is an archive, archiving the wounds. And one of the things that we do in Ahmed and in teaching Palestine and through our various work is actually archiving and documenting and keeping the memory alive of all the wounds and all the massacres and all the attempts to erase, and insist on preserving them, centering, putting at the center the voices, the experiences, the wounds, and the pain of the colonized people, the oppressed people, at the center of analysis, and hear their own perspective against the colonizers and against the oppressors, privileging in this unequal, asymmetrical battle the voices of those people who are not heard and who are intentionally shadow banned and silenced. So that's in itself really important. Archiving is very important because this is something that colonial powers insist on crushing, erasing, and silencing. And on our part, and especially as educators, as academics, as what we call ourselves organic intellectuals, we are very much involved in producing knowledge and reproducing knowledge about justice, and engaging in changing the world and participating in producing justice for ourselves as well. Our job is to produce knowledge about justice. And this is what we do in the Ahmed Studies program. And this is what we do in Teaching Palestine. This is why we set up the program to do so. And this is why the Zionist movement, the pro-Israeli lobby, the US government, the repressive US government are all collaborate with each other in order to block this from happening, in order to push the universities that are also playing a repressive role to silence and crush any possibilities to change the status of knowledge and what is known about Palestine, including what is happening with the wounds, and shutting down medical schools, as well as killing all medical professionals and destroying hospitals. And I don't want to go too much into the area of what my colleagues will be talking about. The way we produce this, also deliver this, is in open classrooms that we hold, as this one, where we invite elders, we invite activists from the community whom we call living archives, because they have knowledge, they pass it along. That is not necessarily always written in books. We invite scholars, we invite intellectuals, we invite students, we invite community organizers, everybody to come together to discuss a particular issue, pass on knowledge, discuss the ways in which we have treated certain ideas, mistakes we made, achievements we have done, and move on. And we keep that always available for the community. And the open classrooms are really open to everybody, and also subject to our commitment to free education for all. And the open classroom are always available, and we also connect them to institutionalizing the curriculum. So this is something that is very much part and parcel, and this is very important aspect for providing the materiality to resist colonialism and to resist repression and to resist the occupation. And we also collaborate with multiple communities across the world in multiple languages, in multiple ways, in order for us to work with each other and bring all this knowledge to all of us. I'm going to stop and pass it to my colleagues, and then maybe I'll come back and talk about more of the things that we're doing and how have we been communicating about it. So I'll pass it on to Dr. Nidal and Dr. Karam.
Karama, do you want to go first?
No, you go.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Dr. Rabab and Dr. Tomomo, for inviting us. And we are thankful for Ahmed for teaching Palestine, Ilam, WGS, and all the co-sponsors convening this event. Uh, we know that no one of us alone can do it. No one of us alone can protect humanity and stop the genocide. So we really appreciate the value of all of us working together and connecting together uh, to try to stop this horrendous attack on humanity. Me and Dr. Hawash are the co-founders of Doctors Against Genocide, and this organization was born out of the need and necessity that we felt that the medical community need to step in and fill the void that has been left and left the lives of the vulnerable people at the mercy of the politicians. So we are not here as physicians, but we are also as human beings, as defenders of life in an era where silence kills and where the very profession sworn to protect humanity has been hijacked by power, profit, and politics. Uh, Genocide is the single greatest public health hazard known to humanity. It surpasses pandemics and wars in its capacity for targeted systematic destruction of human life. In the last century alone, genocide have claimed the lives of over 200 million lives, from Armenia to Holocaust, Rwanda, Bosnia, Myanmar, and Sudan, and now in Palestine. Each time the world swore never again. Each time medicine stood largely silent, complicit, or worse, participatory. Today, Gaza has become the graveyard of that promise. We are witnessing the most documented, most broadcasted genocide in modern history. Over 300 innocent Palestinian lives have been murdered, including more than 20,000 children, entire families erased, hospitals, places of healing bombed into rubble, doctors tortured and executed, patients left to die in the streets. And where is the global medical establishment? Where is the American Medical Association, the Canadian Medical Association, the British Medical Association? Nowhere. They hide behind the deadly myth of neutrality, a neutrality that has always been a shield for oppression. This is not new. Western medicine was built within and has long sustained the architecture of colonialism, racism, and supremacy. It experimented on the enslaved Africans in the name of science. It legitimized eugenics, feeding the ideologies of Nazism and apartheid. It stood by during the horrors of Rwanda and Srebrenica. It now enables Israeli doctors who justify the bombings of hospitals, the torture of doctors and detainees, and the starvation of children. More than 1 million child have been actively starved over the past 60 days in the face of complete silence of all the Western system, including the medical system. So these are not aberrations. These are system or symptoms of a corrupted system where medicine serves the powerful and abandons the vulnerable. Institutions that punish doctors calling for a ceasefire but stay silent as children are slaughtered have forfeited their moral authority. Medical schools that invest in industries while censoring students, that invest in war industries while censoring students advocating for life, have betrayed their mission. Doctors who turn their backs on genocide under the guise of professionalism have violated their oath. We at Doctors Against Genocide say enough is enough. We reject this model of medicine that values profit over people, that caters to the elite while leaving the oppressed to die, that waits until the killing is over to issue meaningless statements of regret. We are here to decolonize medicine, to tear it away from the hands of the war profiteers and return it to its rightful place as a force of life, for justice, and for the protection of all humanity. Medicine must no longer be reactive, silent, or complicit. It must be proactive, loud, and courageous. We know as physicians that prevention saves more lives than intervention. We vaccinate to prevent disease. We screen to catch illnesses early. So why does this logic disappear when it comes to mass atrocities? We must recognize that genocide, oppression, and systemic violence are not political issues. They are medical emergencies on a societal scale. And just as we are trained to identify the early signs of sepsis or stroke, we must be trained to identify the early signs of dehumanization, militarization, structural violence before they metastasize to genocide. At Doctors Against Genocide, we are leading the call for a preventive definition of genocide centered not on legal intent, but on the measurable harm and threat to human life. We're also trying to embed advocacy, human rights, and anti oppression frameworks into medical education. We're also trying to hold institutions, doctors, and healthcare workers accountable when they choose complicity over conscience. Thank you. I'll stop at this point for now, and we can talk more later on. Thank you.
Dr. Karama?
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Jbour, and thank you to all my colleagues here for having us, for teaching Palestine, Ahmed, Elam, WGS, Dr. Abdel Hadi, who has always been a role model for all of us. And thank you, Dr. Jbour, for giving such a comprehensive view of what Doctors Against Genocide is all about. I'll just add a few points. Some of the things that we have focused on is to mobilize the medical community, to be able to give them the language, to be able to advocate against genocide, and things that we found important and hopefully effective is we care about correct diagnosis, and correct diagnosis needs the right language. So we have tried to come up with a framework that identifies genocide before it even happens by detecting the signs of dehumanization, segregation, racism, extermination campaigns. And these symptoms are actually easily identifiable once we open our eyes to them, and the patterns become very similar, and they are similar from one society to another. So it is almost like detection of genocide is a science that can actually be taught by recognizing patterns and being able to describe it and being able to call it out. So we do insist that Genocide has to be called genocide without using any euphemism and without hiding it behind meaningless names that do not give the right description. Part of our job as a medical community should extend beyond the office place where we see one patient for half an hour. We should be able to ask for immediate intervention to save lives, especially lives that are affected by our governments. So we extend our jobs to ask for immediate medical intervention, immediate halt of military actions, violence. These are things that every single medical professional should be able to find it very easy to call for, and that is the essence of our advocacy. What we learned from the genocide in Palestine and in Gaza is that the medical professionals are almost the last line of defense against the war machine and the killing machine. We have seen Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya stay in the Kamal Adwan hospital till the very last minute, pleading with the military forces that are surrounding his hospital, pleading with the Israeli generals who took their tanks and stood in front of the hospital. We know that the doctors in Kamal Adwan were pleading with those army soldiers who are intent on extermination campaign. They pleaded with them, please come to the hospital, install a checkpoint inside the hospital, do not destroy the hospital, let us do our work saving lives. This is what it means to be the last line of defense against death. And that is something that our colleagues in the Western world do not even comprehend what it means to practice medicine under these circumstances. So our job is to spread these heroic stories and to insist that our colleagues in Gaza, the doctors of Gaza, are our heroes, our medical heroes, are our role models, are the best example that medicine has to offer. Part of our job is also documenting crimes against humanity and war crimes and genocide action for accountability. Without accountability, there will be no deterrence. And that is very important part of the advocacy of Doctors Against Genocide. Also, one thing that we do is as a medical community, we always pay attention to our patient. The patient who is in front of us is the most important member in the room. The people who are at the receiving end of atrocities, who are the communities affected by genocide or war crimes and crimes against humanity, should be the center of our attention. Their voices should be heard, their stories should be told, and our advocacy is led by them. So we are tools in the service of the communities that are affected, and we insist in that. We like to hear from them directly, and that is what we have been doing. And I will end with that, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
I think Lais was going to say an announcement.
Hi, all. Yazan was due to join us from Cuba, but due to sanctions and embargoes with Cuba, the power and internet has gone out there. So we're hoping to have him join us if and when it comes back on. I'll be posting his bio in the chat regardless, and hopefully he'll be able to join us later.
Dr. Kinakawa? Do you want to introduce Reid, or would you like me to? What would you like?
To start?
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to unmute.
Go ahead.
Yes, so we'd like to introduce guide Kassam
Can start if you want to mommy.
I'm sorry.
To introduce. Can I start to introduce about myself?
Sure.
Okay. So hello everyone, and thank you for all and for the invitation. My name is Ghid Qassem. I am a lawyer from Nazareth, occupied Palestine, 1948. I specialize in representing prisoners, detainees, and defending human rights, especially concerning violation inside the prisons. I am the attorney of Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya. I represent him along with the hundreds of detainees from Gaza. Since the war on Gaza, I have visited and accompanied more than 135 Palestinian detainees in Israeli prisons and military camps. I observed the conditions and document flagrant violation against Gazan prisoners and the detainees, whether regarding food, health care, or medical care. The detainees are doctors, nurses, health sector workers, journalists, students, and the teachers. I search and advocate for the intentional disappearance of thousands of Gazan detainees. I have been able to locate and detect hundreds of detention sites inside Israeli prisons and military camps. So some of the general information about the detainees in Israeli prisons and the conditions. First, since the beginning of the war in Gaza, approximately more than 5,000 people from the Gaza Strip and have been arrested and taken to unknown locations. The locations of their detention was later determined and located. Approximately 2,000 of them were released until now, while 3,000 remains in prisons and camps until today. In general, there are 13,000 detainees inside the prisons. The division is 10,000 from the West Bank, Jerusalem, and the occupied Palestine, and 3,000 prisoners from Gaza. As for Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya and the rest of the detainees, I wanted to talk about the violations. Firstly, there are hundreds of medical staff and doctors in the Israeli prisons and camps. The situation in the prisons is horrible and inhuman. All the prisoners are deprived of food and the most basic human rights. There is no medicine or medical care. They suffer from starvation because they are starved all the time by the Israeli prisons. Food is available in very small quantities, not enough for a small child. The Palestinian prisoners suffer from continuous torture, beating, abuse, insult, and curses. More than half of the detainees sleep on the floor, and there are no pillows, neither sheets. Most of the Palestinian prisoners have lost a third to half of their weight. They are completely cut off from the outside world, isolated, no television, no radio, no newspaper. There are constant raids from the Israeli prison on the rooms of the Palestinian prisoners. They suffer from medical negligence and they lack adequate medical health care. A large number of detainees suffer from skin disease and infections such as scabies. The detention conditions is very harsh. They face abuse, incursions, and searches and naked search, extreme cold that was in the last winter. There is a lack of even the minimum amount of sterilization and hygiene supplies. Clothes are washed once a month. Confiscation of mattresses and blankets. Lack of sufficient clothing. There are not enough clothes. The prisoner stays in the same clothes for months at the time without even washing them. The room or cell is empty. Everything is in it is is confiscated. Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya, his fault and maybe the sin that he committed was just that he refused the orders from the Israeli army to evacuate Kamal Idwan Hospital. The result was that he paid the price, which was his freedom. He is now freed of everything inside the prisons. He was lost than 30 kilograms. He was beaten severely. 4 of his ribs were broken. He was interrogated more than 10 times. The longest interrogations was lasting 30 days. The goal was to intimidate and accuse him with the false confessions, such as that he had the information about the Israeli prisoners or Hamas members, and that he had performed the surgeries or them from inside the hospital, but he didn't do any of these deeds. I visited Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya 4 times, twice in March and twice in April. The last time was a few days ago, less than a week ago. Dr. Hussam was arrested on this December 27, 24. He was denied accused to a lawyer for 2.5 months. His first detention was at the Zdetiman military near Beersheba. He stayed there for 2 weeks. He was interrogated at least 4 times there, each time lasting up to 8 hours. In January 10th, 25, he was transferred to Ofer prison near Jerusalem. There he was held in a cell or a solitary confinement for 25 days. He was integrated for 13 days. On February 25, he was transferred to Section 24, Rooms 2, with the rest of the Gazian detainees in Ofer prison, where he remains to these days. Currently, there are approximately 450 detainees from the Gaza Strip in Ofer. He classified as an unlawful combatant according to the 202 Israeli law. In February 25, Dr. Hassan was classified as an unlawful combatant under the law, the Israeli law. According to this law, there is no indictment or evidence, only a secret file. Even the secret file, the lawyer cannot see him. It is sufficient to have a suspicion that you committed an act or aggression that contradicts Israel. An illegal fighter has no rights. Order valid for up to 6 months. There is no trial, just that trial is a sham. The lawyer cannot view the secret file. He's being tried in Beersheba District Court. About the health status, he suffered from high blood pressure problems. He has regular he suffered from high blood pressure problems. He has irregular heartbeats, eye problems, and weakness in vision. He lost a significant amount of weight in a short period of time, more than 20 kilogram in 2 months. That's it.
Thank you very much. So I take it that the connection is still not restored. So I guess we will see when Yazan, Dr. Yazan is able to join us. And meanwhile, I guess I will do the start a second round, and there are many questions and comments that we can each ask each other. And Dr. Abdulhadi, would you like to start, or should I ask my questions?
Well, go ahead, no problem, please. I can go next.
Okay, so I think one of the questions, like in when the first, like when Dr. Abdul Hadi and also Doctors Against Genocide, like when I was listening to both of three of you, and I was thinking that when you emphasize the prevention and like detection, I see like the connection between what like Dr. Abdul Hadi has been doing with Ahmed and what you are emphasizing, that that's like Ahmed has been there for a long time, and Dr. Abdul Hadi has been fighting against the repression for over decades, and then now we are seeing the escalation of the repression right now. But in some ways, I think everything that is taking place right now has been already experienced by Dr. Abdul Hadi, and like she's been speaking like to us like over all these years, and then also providing the space where many of us could come, when the elsewhere there's only repression which silence us. And then I think Ahmed has become a very important space to provide like a people to be able to keep speaking, like support those who are repressed. And then I think the hearing from Doctors Against Genocide, I think I'm like of course convinced the significance of prevention, and then and that's part of what like it's the international community's responsibility. And I'm just wondering like how those two movements can be connected, and like what's the kind of interdisciplinary like collaboration can be possible, because I think like to in order to fight against that repression and stop the genocide right now. But also, I think what you're saying is that in order to do that, I think it is important to do the longer term work, and that the support for the longer term work is very much necessary. And then also support from people, like rather than silence, like or in the disinterest, like there is a need for the there's a need for sustained interest and like the commitment for like Ahmed and also DHG. And so I'd like to hear from both of you like how you see the connection between these two movements. And then I guess I let Dr. Abdul Hadi to ask the Dr. Kasam question. Would that be make sense? I mean, or should I ask?
Go ahead. We decided to make this organic and just
Yeah.
like say whatever we want. So go ahead, ask your question, and then people
Well,
will
I'll
say
come back
whatever.
and maybe
Yeah.
you can start from there, and then
No,
I have more
I
questions.
I just say I would suggest like throw away the questions, and then we can also like piggyback, do another round. We're doing good for time, so
Okay,
I,
so
I
may
think
I?
it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'll just finish my turn, and would you like to go? I just
I mean,
have, yeah.
if
Okay.
you asked the question about the interconnectivity between Ahmed and Doctors Against Genocide,
Mhm.
and I think it's really a natural connection. As as I tried to say, as Doctors Against Genocide, we do like to center the community that is affected the most, and we know that the Arab community and the Muslim community has been affected by a lot of racism, discrimination, and suppression and silencing, especially amongst the students and amongst the professors. A lot of Middle Eastern studies department has been completely shut down, and a lot of the knowledge base that is coming from these departments has been under attack. And that is the repression and the discrimination is a sign of a pattern that might even escalate to become genocidal in nature and can affect the health of the community. We know that social determinants of health are linked to racism and are linked to access. So a community that is discriminated against, that is denied freedom and denied the freedom of expression and academic freedom, tends to be discriminated against. And because of that, the medical community has to be hyper vigilant to these signs and confront them as they come. So it is a natural alliance. I would say it is a natural collaboration, and there is a lot of opportunities to work together and support each other. This is one example, this presentation together, and I'm sure there are many ways that we can support the work that is being done by AMED amongst the medical in the medical community. At the end of the day, medicine is politics, and politics affects medicine.
Dr. Jabbour, or shall I jump in? Faddal, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, Karam and Dr. Rabab. Thank you for the question, Dr. Tumomi. Again, we know that those who are benefiting from injustice, from genocide, from oppression, from apartheid are very powerful. They're a small group, but they are very powerful. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of connections. They have a lot of political power. And we know that none of us alone, as individuals or groups or professions, can do it all. We know that those elites, the ones who are living on the exploitation of the people, are still a minority. And the biggest power they have is the silence of the masses. So when Professor Abdul Hadi has been heeding the call for decades and warning people and asking people to rise up, to unite, to do something, and when we came with Doctors Against Genocide, even before October 7, and we said we are seeing high risk warning signs of an imminent genocide happening. Unfortunately, the masses, most of the people did not listen, did not heed the call. And every one of us, unfortunately, thinks they are safe. It's only happening just in Gaza. It's only in Sudan. It's only in Congo. But as bad as just genocide is, we need to at least educate the people, raise the awareness that the bombs that are falling on Gaza explode at home. Whatever is happening there, if we allow it to happen there, it will come to us. We have been asking everyone, please stop this. Please rise up. Please join us to stop all these crimes. Because if we allow them to happen there, those profiteers from war, from genocide, from exploitation do not stop. They have no moral breaks. They cannot reckon. You cannot expect them at one point to wake up and reckon that that's enough. Let's stop. And if we allow them there, they will encroach us on us here. That's why we're seeing the signs of fascism here hitting us at home, against the students, against the people on visa, against anyone who is, goes against the administration policies, against the migrants, against the African American community, against the LGBT community, against the universities, against the medical, journals. That's why everyone needs to wake up. We, the people, all of us, all over the world, the United States, in the West, in the East, in the South, in the North, we need to wake up, because we, the people, are the victims here, and we are at risk. If we don't rise up together and join forces to put an end to this and to create a better world for all of us now and for our children in the future. Those people who are benefiting from all these crimes are getting powerful by the day. They are creating all these AI platforms. They're creating all these, sophisticating things. They're putting humanity at risk, and at one point they will deal with all of us as disposable populations. They don't need us anymore because they will create enough systems to get rid of any surplus population they want, whether it's in Africa, whether it's Palestine, whether it's United States, whether it's the African American here. And when we studied the history of genocide, as Dr. Karam mentioned, you can study it. This is a science. You can study it, and you can predict with precision how these processes are happening, and you don't need to wait for the catastrophe to happen. Once you see the signs, once there is any marginalized community, once you see any vulnerable community anywhere in the world, you know that this community is at the mercy of powerful. And if we are not protecting it now, if we don't put safeguards to protect this community or other communities, one day when the political environment is ripe and suitable, they will get rid of that community. That's why, as human beings, as healthcare workers, as educators, as professors, as researchers, we all have the moral and the legal obligation to wake up, to raise the awareness, to educate people, because we, the people, we still have the the most power to make the right change if we unite together and if we heed the call, united in the call for humanity. We are not against any people. We are not against anybody. We are for the betterment of this world that serves the people, not just the few who are benefiting from all this. And thank you for the question.
Thank you. You actually like covered so many things I was going to. I connected things together, and I would just maybe go to a few points. One is that our job, and talking about our job as educators, about specific kind of production of knowledge. In this case, Palestine. We're talking. I'm in the College of Ethnic Studies, so it was supposed to be third world studies. It's a study of how racism, structure along with capitalism and other forms of white supremacy, Zionism, and so on, structure the world and how that affects ways. So I think one of the things that we study a lot of the times is how does science emerge, and science historically has been very much complicit in creating colonial knowledge to control populations. So if we think about what does this really mean and who has produced knowledge about people and how that knowledge has advanced control of people, and how is it that now Doctors Against Genocide, Elam, Cuba that has preventive medicine, that we are not able to even have somebody speak about that because of the US blockade is strangling Cuba, that cannot even have somebody to come and speak from the Palestinian students who receive scholarships to study medicine and go help Palestine from the Cuban government. I mean, it's like we're talking about a different kind of understanding. What is medicine for as a science? What does it serve? Who does it serve and what does it serve? There are different medicines. There is one medicine that is produced and pharmaceutical and producing of herbal and medicinal issues to produce profit, and that are very much, by the way, connected also to the war industry, and that are producing war and and machine and arms are only produced to kill. There is no other purpose, no other purpose. And within that, there is biological weapons, there are chemical weapons, there is also psychological warfare. All of this stuff is very much connected with each other. And there are doctors who are very much complicit, who have been complicit, including doctors that we know from the American Psychological Association who have justified torture. There are doctors who actually have sat and have seen how much torture, including in Israel. And that's why Israel has the Supreme Court said that it's okay to torture prisoners to a certain level. A little bit of pressure, it's okay to protect the security of the state. It doesn't really make sense, and it violates the HIPAA oath that doctors are supposed to pass, and so on. So even this, all the studies that we have seen, you mentioned many genocidal eras from Nazis and everything. But let's talk about the whole question of the syphilis the Tuskegee Institute. Let's talk about the blankets that were given to indigenous people that got people killed, and now the scabies that Israeli authorities are passing to Palestinian prisoners in prison. Why is this happening? I mean, like the thing is, I ask as an educator the questions because my job is to ask the questions: how do we produce knowledge? Why do we produce knowledge? For what purposes? And when we ask the questions, what questions are we getting answered? Why is it that major institutions produce a whole knowledge based on cells of a woman called Henrietta Lack, and her descendants have never ever known anything about her? And her body is still being used again and again. When we talk about reproductive genocide, we do know that the United States government and the United States CIA and United Development Agency and so on engage in something called La Operacion, the sterilization of Puerto Rican women. And it wasn't for a group called the Young Lords Party that my colleague Dr. Kinakawa mentioned has not taken over Lincoln Hospital in New York in their organizing and stopped this. But they were one third of Puerto Rican women were sterilized. And there is this whole population control. The surplus population that you spoke about, Dr. Jmour, is going all over the world because there are so those of us who are seen in the zone of non-being, as Fanon referred to as the people who are not wanted in the world. And this is the job, and this is where it comes to, it's not only about silencing Palestine, it's about silencing any kind of knowledge that lets people understand what is going on and connects it. And it's not just people say, oh, this is really nasty, Israelis, they're doing this, but it's very much connected with Jewish supremacy, the way it's connected with white supremacy. It's very much connected to profiteering, as you're talking about. It is not just somebody who sat there and decided, I'm just going to be nasty. It's very much connected to the history of genocide, to the science of genocide, to the methodological and very much instrumental way of doing it. And when we stand and we say, it is our job as educators, I'm talking from our side, okay? Our job as educators to ask the questions, to trace the history, to say this is something that's wrong. These are sciences that enabled colonialism. These are sciences that enabled the control of other people. These were wrong then. They continue to be wrong now. And it is our job to teach these histories, to criticize these histories, and to stop practicing them and to show that. And then there are other people who come and say, powerful people who come and say, you cannot be teaching about that because it makes certain people uncomfortable, whether it is white supremacist people or it's Zionists, it makes people uncomfortable. And it actually negates the whole process of education because the whole process, pedagogical practice, is to make students uncomfortable. Because if you're not uncomfortable as an intellectual being, and I'm not uncomfortable, how are we going to learn if we're all our brains are going to go lazy? I mean, this is also part of even I'm not going to thread there because you are doctors, so I'm not going there. But I do know there is something that has to do with the brains that if you don't like work them, they become really lazy and they atrophy. You have to work again and again. So this is something that is kind of like has to do with the industry, the death industry, the war machine industry, the creation, the industry of producing the knowledge about people who are lesser than other people. And this is all tied up together. And I think part of the targeting of a program like Ahmed is because we connect things together, because we refuse to only say something about connected and say, this is what's going on. Because you have to explain, why is it that all these Palestinian kids are becoming amputated? Why is it that Palestinian kids during the Intifada, their arms were broken? It was collective punishment. It was also to take them out of battle, but it was also about maiming them. I mean, why is it that you affect the whole health, physical, mental, ideological, psychological, every single aspect of life? All of this. And when people hear about something or another, why is it that Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya is not allowed to do what he chose his life to do? And then my biggest question, and it's really I can't even answer it, and I know all the analysis. How is the world watching? How is the whole world watching? Because when the Holocaust was happening, we hear again and again, never again. And of course, with other people, we say never again for anybody. because we do not want to exceptionalize any genocidal experience, any genocide. All genocides are bad genocide. We cannot say not one human being is more important than another. So why is it that the whole world is watching? So in 1940s, a lot of people didn't know. Now people know. And what is it that we can all come together and do more than we are doing? How do we get out of this? Because it's very frustrating. And this is where, I'm coming in, because I talk about this with my students, and a lot of my students simply do not know where we are in this college, whose claim to fame is the 1968 strike at San Francisco State University to decolonize the curriculum, to create a different curriculum that's accountable to the community, that we did not even say we wanted a program in Palestine, Arab Muslim communities. The university decided, and then they recruited me from Michigan. I had no idea. So if you decided to do that and thought this knowledge was important, what happened today? You think that it is less important when there is a genocide of Palestinian Arab Muslim people. You don't need to. So it's very mind-boggling. And I'm going to stop at that to kind of like raise all these questions to you, because I think, for you, Reed, when you were going every week, and we talked about it, but maybe we talked about it a month and a half ago. When you go again and again, I want you to also explain what happens to you as a lawyer who's Palestinian, who goes to terrorism. What happens to you when you go to visit? How do you go in? What happens when you meet the people you represent? What happens to what they tell you? What happens to them together in there? How does that affect you? What can the world do about that? I think it's really, really important to address, so people understand. We have a class. And hopefully the students who are listening, some of them are also law school students or students who might want to become doctors and so on. So I think this is something that people can take away with them. Thank you.
Can I have similar question for Dr. Kasam, and I think I think that like the lawyers, like who are with the prisoners, I think your role is immense. I think, and like for us, like we have heard from multiple lawyers in the open classrooms, and like I think that's the only way that we actually understand what is going on in the the Israeli prisons. And I think the role that the lawyers play, as like a Palestinian lawyers play, as producers of the knowledge, and I think that's really critical. And so I wanted to hear more about like how you see yourself as I mean, of course, as an educator, but also like as a part of the knowledge producing that both the Dr. Abdul Hadi and the all doctors here are doing. And I think also like the significance of the connections between like the lawyers and also like Ahmed and the Doctors Against Genocide. I think that's I wanted to ask. And also I wanted to ask like in case of Dr. Safia's case, like in terms of the like, I mean, what is Israel is attempting to do by this violence against this doctor who saves people's lives, and this like the most brutal torture, and I mean, then I am wondering how you would interpret the intention, and especially in terms of their they're branding themselves, and like their audacity because of the impunity that they gained from the silence of the international community that Dr. Abdul Hadi was talking about. And so that was my question for you.
Dr. Rabab. I want just to talking about the preventing lawyers from visiting وبدي تساعديني هون. أنا مش عاملة حساب أحكي بهذا الموضوع. طيب سوري، رح أحكي على السريع بدقيقة وترجمة.
ماشي.
المحامين العرب بتحولوا لأعداء بالنسبة لمصلحة السجون من 7 أكتوبر. إحنا مستهدفين مثل المعتقلين. بالنسبة إلهم مجرد إنه إحنا بندافع على هدول المعتقلين، هاي بحد ذاتها إشي اللي هني مش عاجبهم،
Stop.
وكل زيارة هي بشر.
Okay. So the Palestinian Arab lawyers are considered by the Israeli jailers exactly like the prisoners. The Palestinian prisoners are enemies, and they are treated exactly like enemies since, especially since October 7th. We are treated exactly the same. They don't like it, they don't like us, and they treat us the same. Go ahead. تفضلي.
كل زيارة صارت عبارة عن فيلم رعب للمحامي، مخاطرة أمنية عالية. إحنا بيتم تهديدنا خلال الزيارة. بحاولوا قدر المستطاع أي زيارة يتم إلغائها قبل موعدها، لو حتى قبل 5 دقائق يعني من موعدها.
So the visitation to our clients, it becomes like a horror show. Every single one, they try to do every single possible thing to scare us, to intimidate us, to stop the visit before it until the even 5 minutes even before we go into the visit.
مصلحة السجون بتتحجج بشيء اسمه حالة طوارئ داخل السجن، هي الذريعة اللي من خلالها بيمنعوا المحامي إنه يزور. حتى لو مثلا كانت زيارته مثلا من الناصري للنقب 4 ساعات سواقة، ما عندهنش مشكلة توصلي باب السجن يقولوا لك فيش زيارة التغت.
Okay. So one of the things that they use all the time, they always say emergency situation. And when they say emergency, they don't have to explain. And they have no problem to use that any time in order for them to stop a visit. They have no problem to prevent a visit, to stop basically cancel a visit. If I'm going from Nazareth all the way to the Nakab, it's 4-hour drive. They have no problem to say it's an emergency and cancel the whole visit. Just to say emergency, then they don't have to have any explanation whatsoever.
التنصت قائم أثناء الزيارات. السجانين والمخابرات موجودين معنا، وممكن حتى يبتزوا المعتقل، أو إذا شافوه انبسط من الزيارة يتم ضربه ما بعد الزيارة.
Okay. And there is no privacy between the prisoner and the lawyer at all. So they're constantly listening on, they're clearly watching, and even if the prisoner shows signs of like pleasure or something, like maybe even a light of a smile or something, they start actually beating them up. They start punishing them because they're showing signs of pleasure in front of their lawyers.
هدفهن يمنعوا المحامي من أخذ إفادات المعتقل. ما بدهن محامي يوثق الانتهاكات الحاصلة داخل السجون ويجمع أكبر عدد ممكن من المعطيات حول الأسرى والمعتقلين. فبالتالي ممكن كل هاي المماطلات يكون هدفها إنه يجيبوا لنا 5 معتقلين، أنا معي أزورهن ب45 دقيقة، يعني بيطلع لكل معتقل ممكن من 5 ل 7 دقائق.
بقدرش ترجم هذا كله. Okay. And so one of the reason, the main objective is to prevent us as lawyers from taking down the affidavits of prisoners of what all the violations that the prison authorities, the Israeli prison authorities, violating the Palestinian prisoners. So what they do, they prevent us. They only have 45 minutes in order to take the affidavits of 45 prisoners. Maybe I'll get 5 to write down. So they want to prevent this information to get out of prison, so the world would know how many violations are they're committing, and then it's very hard to get back as a visit again and again. So they want to prevent all these violations from coming out.
وممنوع ننقل ولا أي معلومة من الخارج للداخل. أي معلومة إلها علاقة بأهل المعتقل أو بالحرب أو بالأوضاع في غزة إحنا ممنوع نحكيها للمعتقلين، فبالتالي المعتقل بيضل مغيب.
And we are not allowed to bring any piece of information from outside the prison to inside. So we are not allowed to let the prisoners know what's happening to their families in Gaza, what's going on in the world. So the prisoner continues not knowing, complete ignorance of what's happening in the world. There is nothing that's going on in the world outside. They don't know about the deaths of their families, anything that's happening. Yeah. That's, by the way, ad lib from me, but we've heard that when prisoners came out that some of their families died, some of them were injured, whatever happened to them. Yeah.
اي محامي بيحاول يجيب معلومه وبلاحظوا هذا الإشي طوال بيتم منعه، بيتم إنهاء الزيارة، وبتقدم طلب للمحكمة المركزية بمنع هذا المحامي يدخل السجون لمدة 6 شهور، وبصير في تمديد.
And so any lawyer caught trying to bring a piece of information from outside of the prison to the prisoners, they're caught in it. They will be caught. Then an order will be presented by the Israeli prison authorities to the central court. The central court then issues an order that this lawyer is not allowed to make any visitations anymore, be in touch with prisoners for 6 months, and that can be renewed. So the lawyer cannot anymore really represent their their client or go visit them.
وأكثر من 40 محامي منعوا من دخول السجون بالفترة الأخيرة بسبب شكاوي قدمها بن كفير بالأساس أو مصلحة السجون ضد هدول المحامين، فبالتالي عندنا اليوم نقص بالمحامين البذور.
So there is over 40 lawyers who are now prevented from visiting their clients in prison because the Israeli prison authorities, and specifically Ben Gvir and the prison authorities that he rules over, have submitted. So we have now a very deep shortage in prison advocates, lawyers who can visit the prisoners. So that's one of the main issues that I guess, Reid, you want to say that it's not something that appears on the face of it as a serious violation, but this is one of the ways that they use the mechanics of the state to repress prisoners. أي شيء تاني بدك تحكي على الأسرى؟ طب وصحتهم مثلا، أنت على صحة الدكتور أبو صفية وصحة زملائه وأهله وهيك شيء. قلنا لك المرة الماضية توصلي له رسالة تضامن منا كلنا، وصلتي له؟
وصلت، وبفكرني ببالغ لما بحكي له، يعني بفكرني بحكي بس عشان أواسيه. لما بقول له إنه أنا وصلت لمرحلة الناس بالشوارع بتوقفني بتسألني عنك، بفكرني عم ببالغ. وكان في له تعليق بخصوص ترشحه لجائزة نوبل، صار يضحك لحد إسا مش قادر يستوعب الموضوع. بقول لي طب طلعوني، يعني انتوا حابسيني بدكم تعطوني جائزة، طب انه طلعوني وخذوا الجائزة. فهي
غيد الله يخليك لما تشوفيه احكي له انه
خليني اخلص ترجم من بدال بعدين بحب اقدرش اترجمه كله.
زملائك برضه من دكتور جينوسايد بيسلموا عليك.
بدها تترجم الدكتور رباب.
بعدين بتحكي وانت بتترجم حكيت. So she says that I said, did you tell him that we expressed solidarity, because when she was going to go visit him, but it was right March 19th in Ramadan, so it was really difficult to have the event in Ramadan. And she said, yes, I told him, and he still does not believe that there is so many people ask about him. And she tells him, I see people in the street, they stop me and ask me about you. He still doesn't believe it. And now she said that he started laughing when he found out that he's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. He said, like, why am I nominated? Just let me get out. And he said, you can keep the award, take the award, and just let me get out. I don't need the award. And Dr. Nidal started saying that he started saying, tell him. And I said, you know what, stop, let me finish translating, and then you can say to deliver. So now speak. تفضل Dr. Nidal. Please,
we, as Dr. Genocide, also we want Reid to tell Dr. Abu Safiya when she meets him that your colleagues, doctors against genocide, all your colleagues, the healthcare workers, the doctors all over the world appreciate you. They see you as the role model. You are our moral compass. You are the true doctor. You are the one who exemplifies what it really means to be a doctor, who refuses to abandon his patients, who sacrifices everything rather than betray his medical oath. Dr. Abu Safiya did not commit any crime. The only crime that Dr. Abu Safiya committed was being a doctor and refusing to abandon the victims, the injured, the children. He's a pediatrician, so his patients are mostly children. And if tending and caring for the children and treating the children and the injured is a crime, then we really live in an upside world. He is also the role model he and his colleagues on Gaza, that we as a medical community want the whole world to aspire to be like, and inspired by their heroism and their sacrifice. Because while the medical community has a dark history by aligning with Nazism, with supremacy, with apartheid, there are also heroes in the medical history. Dr. Absafia and all the doctors, healthcare workers in Gaza are one of them. They are the brightest light in the history of the medical community now. And I remember a doctor from South Africa, I don't recall his name, but he was also a doctor that when the apartheid soldiers and prisoners brought the patient to him, they were torturing that patient, and they brought the patient to the doctor to stabilize him so they can go back and torture him again. And that doctor, for the first time, said, "No, I'm not giving the patient back to you. He is under my care and he will continue under my care. I'm not going to give it back to you to torture him again." This is exactly what the Israeli doctors are doing. They are stabilizing the patients, the victims, the prisoners, so the torturers can go back and kill them again instead of them refusing this. If they really, if they are really true doctors, if they really respect their oath, their humanity, they should refuse to give these patients, these prisoners who are being tortured, back to the ones who are inflicting harm on them. This is what really means to be a doctor. So all Israeli doctors failed their oath, failed their mission, betrayed medicine. They are participants and partners in this genocide. The doctors in STD Yemen, the Israeli doctors who are practicing on prisoners, who are doing amputations as a practice for their interns, are part of the genocide. They are genocidaires committing a genocide. They should refuse this. The ones who are calling to bomb their colleagues and the hospitals in Gaza are also part of the genocide. So we need to highlight this. The other point is, as a doctor, if you are in a hospital like Abu Safiya, Dr. Abu Safiya was, or any doctor in Gaza, your job is to treat anyone who comes to you regardless. If they were a militant, even if they were an Israeli soldier, we cannot say no. Legally, you cannot say no. It's not just legal, it's morally. That's your profession. You swore an oath to treat anyone who comes to you. You don't have to check who they are. You don't need to check if they are a militant or not a militant, if they are an Israeli soldier or whoever. Medicine means the oath, the Hippocratic oath means you are obligated to treat anyone who comes to you. And anyone, whether they are militant or a soldier, once they are injured, once they are in the hospital, they are protected. Once they are injured, once they are disabled from being active combatant, they are injured, they are protected by international law. No one has the right to go after them. That is why the Geneva Conventions came for, to protect even the soldiers, even the militants, even anyone. Once you are injured, once you are incapacitated, once you are in a hospital ground receiving treatment, you are protected by all international humanitarian laws, Geneva Conventions. So they have no right to go after Dr. Sophia or any of his colleagues, or all the doctors that they detained and they're torturing now, and all the doctors that they murdered and killed, all the doctors they are forcibly displayed and destroying the hospitals. Thank you, Dr. Absafia. Please, Gid, let Dr. Absafia know that we are proud of him. We are doing all what we can to try to get him and his colleagues out. We are trying all what we can to stop this attack on humanity, on medicine, this medicide, and we are proud of him. We are learning from his example. We are not learning from the Western textbooks that are complicit in genocide. We are learning from Abu Safiya life, from his practice, from his role model, from his textbook. So thank you.
Yeah. I was wondering, Dr. Tomomi, do you want to, like, there are other questions. I was wondering about this. First of all, I've had a question also to read about your own kind of like the whole question about Palestinians in 48 and so on. We're hearing many more attacks and more repression going on. That is connected because the Palestinians in 48 are treated as if they are not Palestinians. But I'm not talking about the international media and so on. And so how is that? But you told us some things, but is that only connected to your role as being lawyers? the advocates for the Palestinian prisoners, number one. And because we see, like, I know that I was giving a talk last night, up 2 nights ago, about South Africa. And I remember I keep talking about Al Araqib, that is in Naqab, that keeps getting destroyed 242 times now. And they keep building, and it is in Naqab, and it is a community there. If you would like to speak about that, and if this, the conditions of prison, because also East Jerusalem is supposed to be annexed, so the conditions in prison are applicable to Israeli law, where Palestinian children are not the same as Israeli. So that was one question to talk about. And I was also thinking, what else do we want to address? And a big question is, where do we go from here? What are some of the things we could do in order for us to illuminate more? I mean, I think we're doing a lot, but what else can we do? What else can we do? How else can we? Yeah, I don't know. And I'm sure Dr. Tomomi, I'm going to turn the reins back to you. Yeah.
Yes, I also have question about. I mean, I have some thoughts about what you said about this whole, the silence, this whole issue about assimilationism, and also the what the Dr. Absita called the genocidal iceberg. That was information for a long time, and I wanted to discuss that, but I think that Yazan is on the phone. Yes, so we should go to Dr. Yazan first, and then we'll come back and continue this discussion more.
Light, is Yazan back? No, I don't think so. I was asking. It's not 3:30 yet. We have 3 minutes. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe Light is saying, oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I go back up.
Hi, everyone. I have Yazan on the phone right now. So I'm going to, hopefully you can hear him all right. I'm going to be presenting it through my voice here. Yazan, if you wanted to go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Okay, great. People can hear.
Yeah, they can hear?
Yeah. Yeah, your sound is coming through for me.
Yeah, sure. Hey, can I start, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. First of all, I'm sorry for the disconnection. We're facing some real problems with electricity in Cuba, and I think this is the cost we're paying, and this is like the issue from the blockade that the United States have against Cuba. Okay, first of all, my name is Yazan Zahran. I'm a Palestinian student. I was born in Jerusalem. I came in Cuba in 2008. In November of 2018, to study medicine. And now I'm in my last year, in my 6th year of the career. I'm a student from the project ILAM. ILAM is Escuela Latinoamericana de Medicina. It's a project that was created by Fidel Castro in 1999. It's also a project that was created by Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez. There are two international schools for them. One here in Havana, the other one is in Venezuela.
Please present, Yazan, because we all presented. So go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The it's reconnecting right now. It seems like the connection dropped again. We'll give it maybe like 5 seconds, and then if it doesn't reconnect, I'll let you know when I have him back on the line. Oh, Yazan, are you back?
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I just lost connection and it's back again.
No worries. Dr. Abdelhadi mentioned you may not have been able to hear. If you wanted to go ahead and present now, go ahead.
Yeah, to present it again, I start again. I don't know if they hear everything I say.
Yes.
Are you able to hear? Oh no, go ahead, Dr. Kinikawa.
Doctor, thank you, Liz. Dr. Abdelhadi, maybe we could ask Dr. Yazan a question, or that's not the issue. It's just a connection issue.
Yeah, sorry, he is reconnecting again.
Oh, I see.
I think that there are some persistent connection issues.
Okay.
Laith, maybe you can ask Yazan if has the electricity came back, because if Yazan can join us on StreamYard.
The electricity hasn't come back. This was
Okay. So maybe he can just tell us, what does Ilam do, and what do the Palestinians do, and what have they done in terms of the whole question of supporting the Palestinian in Gaza and fighting against medical genocide in Gaza.
Okay, I can ask him if I get him back on the phone, but for now, we will likely have to move on.
Kinakawa, do you want to take it away?
Sure. So I guess we should go back to your question, Dr. Abdelhadi, about so I guess Dr. Qassam, do you have? Was that first question was for Dr. Qassam, right?
It was. So yeah. About the whole question of the 48. Is it just because are you like chased and harassed just because you are lawyers for Palestinians from the 48 from the West Bank and Gaza, or is it also because you are? I mean, is this something that has to do with you Palestinians from the 48, and also about the whole question of the Jerusalem? The law that applies to Palestinians in Jerusalem and the treatment of Israeli Jews as opposed to Palestinians in laws and in prisons.
عنو بدك أجاوب بالضبط أول واحد ولا العراقيب؟ أنتوا كنتوا تحكوا إيش عن العراقيب؟
أنا جبت العراقيب كمثال، إنه يعني هل يعني كيف أنتوا تعاملوا كفلسطينية 48؟ هل أنت تعاملي بهاي المعاملة السيئة لأنك محامية للأسرى الفلسطينيين من غزة ومن القطاع من القطاع ومن الضفة، ولا يعني انت محاميه من ال 48 للاسرى، ولا لانك كمان برضه من ال 48 اوضاع الفلسطينيه بال 48، وكمان اذا بتقدر تتطرقوا لاوضاع الفلسطينيه بالقدس اللي هي ضمت اللي في فرق بالمعامله ما بين الفلسطينيه واليهود، حتى مثلا الاطفال الى اخره. يعني شوي بس تحكي عليها، لانه في كثير ناس من مستمعينا ما بيعرفوا.
لا الجواب قصير.
يعني احنا على العراقيب بس كمثال.
احنا على الجهتين. يعني احنا بما انه محاميين بندافع عن حقوق الانسان وعن الفلسطينيين، وبرضه لانه احنا يعني بالنهايه عرب، يعني لانه عرب ولانه بندافع عن هاي القضيه. وبلخص بكلمه بس انه احنا ممنوع نحكي. احنا يعني الملخص الحديث، احنا ممنوع نحكي. اي حدا بيحاول يحكي طوالي بيتم فصله من عمله، وطوالي يعني بيخضع لتحقيق وبكون مكانه الطبيعي السجن. هاي بالمختصر.
Reid says that it is for the two reasons. One is because we do represent Palestinian prisoners from the West Bank and Gaza, but also because we are Palestinians, because we're Palestinian Arabs who have Israeli citizens. We're still Palestinian Arabs. I want to summarize it with one word only. We are not allowed to speak. We cannot speak. The minute any of us speaks, simply we get expelled from our jobs. We were called for interrogation. We were abused because we are not allowed to speak, to express ourselves, to say anything. That's simply the situation.
كمان شغلة صغيرة، اليوم احنا تم إلغاء مسيرة العودة اللي هي بتكون كل سنة لقرية كفر سبت، فبالتالي الضغوطات مستمرة. احنا ممنوع يعني حتى الأشياء الرمزية احنا ممنوع نقوم فيها.
Also, for example, the march of return for the village of Kufr Thabat was denied, was cancelled. So even the symbolic things that we do for ourselves are also denied by the state of Israel.
الحكي بخلصش يعني بهذا
So,
الموضوع تحديدا، لأنه
Reid says there is a lot, there is not, we never finish with that, so we will have to have another discussion about that. Okay.
كلمة واحدة
That's on
قتلونا
our
من جوا.
agenda. Okay, yeah.
قتلونا من جوا بس.
ايش اللي حكيتها الكلمة الأخيرة؟
قتلونا من جوا بس يعني.
That Reid says that they killed us from inside.
وبدي انوه لنقطة جديدة بخصوص القوانين. في قانون مرق قراءة أولى بالكنيست اللي هو بيمنع أي جهة بالذات قانونية، أي محامي يتواصل مع أي مركز أو مع أي جهة اللي بتدعم الاي سي سي أو الاي سي جي بقراراتها أو بكل المواد، وهذا القانون رح يمرق، يعني احتمال كبير خلال شهرين يكون مارق. فبالتالي أي محامي بيتعاون مع أي جهة عن هالشكل فهو كأنه ارتكب جريمة ورح يحاسب يعني ويتم سجنه.
And another example that there is a law that already has gotten approval for the first reading in the Knesset, the Israeli Congress, says that anybody, any party, any individual that cooperates with the International Court of Justice, it will be considered a criminal, doing something illegal in the Israeli state. And that means any of us who are engaging in defense of human rights, exposing violations, defending prisoners or anything, are actually on the list of doing illegal things as far as the Israeli state is concerned. So it's very likely that this law will pass, given the way the Knesset votes are going. So expect that we're going to be seeing even more repression as we move along.
ومن هبة الكرامة 21 لحد الآن في عنا فوق 200 معتقل وأسير من الداخل من إرادة 48، وأكثر من 25 أمر اعتقال إداري برضو لشباب من 48. يعني معلومات كافية بتخيل على هذا الموضوع.
Since the uprising of the Dignity uprising in 2021, this was in May. People can look it up, and you can Google it if you'd like. Students, we can discuss it in the classes and write reflections about it. There is 200 250 250 at least more than 250 detainees, administrative detainees. مظبوط. معتقلين إداريين from the 1948 areas, and there are كم من واحد قلت
25 أكثر من 25 أمر صار الاعتقال الإداري.
25 بس قلتي كمان في أمور صدرت أوامر.
الأوامر الاعتقال الإداري أكثر من 25 صدروا بالأشهر الأخيرة، وعندك فوق 250 حالة اعتقال هذول معتقلين. غير الملفات يعني
there is 25 at least in the recent area and 250 in addition to the various files that are accumulating of investigation, interrogation and suppression that's going on. وكمان في حالة طوارئ مش هيك؟ They impose the emergency laws that don't even allow demonstrations, so everybody has to be violating. But how come all these Israelis are able to go out in the street and protest around the hostages and so on?
اليهود يعني بيتعاملوا بمعاملة والعرب بمعاملة ثانية.
So the reason that there is that Zgheid says because there is a different treatment for the Israeli Jews and for the Palestinian Arabs.
ومن سنة ال 21 لليوم كان عندنا يعني آلاف حالات الاعتقال من عرب الداخل، والسبب الأساسي كانت مشاركتهم بمظاهرات اللي لحد اليوم عم بتحاسب، وصلهم 4-5 سنين محبوسين بس عشان ممكن عبارة أو جملة. وعندنا دليل، المحامي أحمد خليفة اللي تم اعتقاله يعني ببداية أكتوبر 23 على جملة من غزة طلع الأسود، لليوم عم بتحاكم على هاي الجملة، على هاي العبارة من غزة طلع الأسود.
And Reed says that even the repression that's coming from the Israeli state is specifically based on the connection of the struggle of the Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank and the 48 areas of the 2021 uprising of dignity. But this was an uprising that connected Palestinians all over, brought Palestinians together all over. So there is a lawyer, Ahmed Khalifa, until now, he's still being prosecuted based on one sentence he said that from Gaza, the lions have come out. So until now, he's being prosecuted against that because he linked Gaza with the struggles of Palestinians of the 48 areas. So you're not allowed you have to de-link. You cannot connect the struggles of Palestinians in different areas with each other. So the whole project of connecting Palestinians from different parts is not allowed. So this is for people to understand. Okay, we will do more about that. Okay, so I don't know if anybody wants to jump in.
Dr. Abdul Hadi, I think Dr. Yazan is ready again. So
okay, okay,
yes,
you can take it. I'm stopping. Okay.
Raise.
Hi, I have Yazan here. Dr. Abdul Hadi, if you wanted to ask the question you posed to earlier when he was reconnecting.
Yazan, we wanted to know from you.
Listen, brother, I'm trying to I'm trying.
Did you hear the question?
Yazan, I have you here with the panelists.
Brother, I'm trying to connect to the link you sent.
Oh, okay. Is the internet's back up?
No.
Stop, stay on the phone. It's okay.
Okay, I have you on the phone so that they should be able to hear you this way if that works for you.
Yeah, this way is working, but I was trying to enter to the link so it can be like voice and image.
It's okay. We just want to hear from you. So it's okay. We can put your photo and hear from you on voice and maybe do another time when we can just have you both. So we just want to hear from you about your work as students, your activism, your connection with Palestine, your connection with Gaza, your work as medical students. What do you hear? What are you trying to do? What kind of activities you do? How is this program helpful and so on? Because we're getting to the end and we want to talk about basically connecting with each other, things that we can do moving forward. What would you like? Ahmed, Women and Gender Studies, Doctors Against Apartheid. How can we collaborate further? Please tell us everything that you would like to talk about.
All right. Talking about that, like first of all, I remember my first day coming to Cuba. And since the first day, they take care a lot about students who come. In the first day when we came, they were waiting for us in the airport. We came to Palestinians. Before we Palestinians were coming since 19 were coming to study at Cuba toward fuel. In 2016, the Palestinian government around 200 careers for medicine, and it was divided like 50 by this, like this 50 who came by the government team came all together to receive us students. You feel like you are at home. I remember the member who works at relations. He was waiting for us with a coffee and the airport, but he didn't even speak Arab. He was from Iran. To be honest, like the experience in Iran is you are not only studying medicine, it's also about like that makes Hello? Is connection? Do you hear me, guys?
Yeah, it's cutting out a little bit, but we are getting what you're saying.
Yeah. So plus, like I remember in Ilam, first time I went in Ilam, I saw I don't know how to say it in English, like cartel or like something that's written in the wall that said médicos de ciencia y conciencia, which is like doctors of
Conscious.
yeah. So like this is the whole idea about medicine in Cuba, because like they make doctors, they make conscious doctors. And at Ilam, we not only receive like our studying medicine. Plus, we were around 80 delegations, like 2,000 students from 80 countries. You have students from Asia, from Africa, from different parts of the world, and we all like if you think about it, we all share the same issue, which is people or students coming to study medicine from poor countries, or countries that are in war zones, and this is like the compromiso that Cuba has with the world. And like Fidel said it before, we're gonna export soldiers with batas blancas, like soldiers with batas, which is like what we put, what doctors put. And at Ilam, in each year we have apart of medicine, we have also other activities, like each region or each continent, they also have what we call it gala. Gala is like a festival where they present their culture, where they present their what they believe, and it's like the ambiente, if we say it like that, like in Joe, it's so familiar. Plus, in Elam, like they try to make us like always work together. For example, for the classroom, we also like we are not only Palestinians studying together, or like we are not only like Africans or like other students studying together. It's like a mix. Even where we stay, where we sleep, also it's like a mix. Plus, something I really liked about it, and at first it was like weird somehow for me, but in each room or in each building where we were staying, we had like a nurse or a person who was responsible of the organization of the room. If the room was like clean enough, and each student has points. For example, we have class at 8 in the morning. We go to the class, and after that, this person who has like this challenge, they go to the room and they give the room a point. There is a point for the room, and there is a point for each student, and this goes to the shahada when we graduate. So like they have like they put so small details, but it can say a lot.
Dr. Kinakawa, you have any questions?
I think thank you so much. I'd love to hear more about this. It is a little bit difficult to hear some parts, but I'm just wondering, like, if we can go around. I mean, we only have 10 minutes left, right? So, including Dr. Yazan, I think we can talk about like how, as Dr. Abdulhadi was saying, like how we envision like what we do from here to collaborate and like to envision next. And I'd love, I mean, like just to say, like I'd love to like hear from each of you, like again, like with much more time. That's for sure. But I think if it will be really amazing to kind of think about how we could like connect what we do to strengthen what we do, our work. So maybe Dr. I don't know what's the
He's
order.
gone. Oh no, Yazan is still with Late, right? And I think Dr. Nidal has stepped away, but Dr.
I'm
Karama is
here.
here. And
Dr.
yeah,
Karama hasn't spoken for a while, so maybe
Yeah.
Dr. Karama. would you like to-
Dr. Nidal is here. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, both of you.
We can take a turn and everybody can say 1 minute and move on and we can close. Maybe Yazan first. استني شوي كرامة. Yazan first because he's gonna cut off and then نكمل. Yeah.
If you could repeat the question, just because.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
That's question for me.
Yes.
Where do we go after the graduation?
Maybe I think if Dr. Yazan could stay on, because you haven't heard of what other people have said here, so it might be a little bit difficult for Dr. Yazan to start. So maybe other people could start and then come back to Dr. Yazan. Maybe Dr. Against Genocide.
I can speak.
Thank you so much.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. And regarding how move forward, I think we are united with the mission to protect the future of our children, our students, our patients, and that makes us, makes collaboration a must. So between the universities, between the medical schools, between the medical community and the professors and the teachers, we really have to preserve the possibility that we speak up for those who are weak and who need support the most. And for that, we need to keep talking to each other, and we need to do power mapping so we understand where can we get support for each other, where we can be stronger, and making collaboration strong and communities strong can protect all of us, because there is an attack on everyone who speaks up, whether it's in Israel, whether it's in the United States, whether it's in the West Bank or Gaza, or even in our universities and classrooms. So it is there is a real threat, and the only way to work against this threat is to work together. And I'll let someone else speak. Thank you.
Maybe Dr. Nidal next. You wanna continue after Dr. Karama? Then we can go to Reed and
Yes,
us,
yes, I
right?
can. Again, thank you, Dr. Rabab and Dr. Tumomi, for this important panel. It's an honor to be with you in the same panel. Geet, thank you for all the work that you do. And I think we're calling all those who are listening to us. Do you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are calling all those who are listening to us. Thank you for being here. This is an urgent call to all humanity, to every one of you, wherever you are. Please mobilize. Fascism, supremacy, Zionism, genocidal ideologies, no borders. And if we let them get away in Gaza, in Palestine, in Africa, they will not stop there. They are coming us at our doorsteps here in the West, in the United States. We call on all people of conscience. We, the people, we need to mobilize, unite, reach out to your institution, reach out to the organization, to Dr. Abab, Dr. Tumomi, Dr. Genocide. For the medical community, please mobilize, reach out to your hospitals, to your medical organizations. Tell them that silence in the face of mass murder of children, in the face of starvation of 1 million child, is complicity, is a crime. It's not acceptable. It's a betrayal to our profession, to our humanity, to our oath, to our institutions. Everyone can do something. Inaction is criminal. Everyone can do something. Please reach out. Please unite. Please raise your voices. We need to do more. Thank you again for this space.
Reed.
Until now, the situation of Dr. Hussam Abu Safi is very difficult, but a small victory is recorded in the last time that I visited him before 6 days, that he was without handcuffs. So it's a small victory for us because it's the first time that we meet prisoners of detainees in the prisons without handcuffs. Unfortunately, Dr. Hussam Abu Safi, he had 4 ribs broken during the investigations. On the day of the trial, Dr. Hussam Abu Safi was severely beaten. He has not received the necessary treatment to date. On March 25th, the day he was brought before the court, he was severely beaten. And also on the Eid al-Fitr, he was beaten and his face was stamped on. The last time he was beaten was on April 6th, when his head was hit with an iron pole by the prison guards. He until now asked about his son Ibrahim. The first question he asked was about the burial place of his son Ibrahim, who had been murdered 2 months period to his arrest and buried in the hospital yard. What his matters or what his concern, Dr. Hussam continues to care about the inquiry and about the condition of the hospitals in Gaza Strip. His primary concern in the medical staff and the injured and the wounded. He sends his greetings to all his people and to all the world. He insists on his humanitarian message. He asserts that he has committed no crime other than defending a living conscience and the humanity.
Thank you so much. So I think I will go first, and then Dr. Abdul Hadi could conclude it.
You can speak for both of us. We don't have time. We have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Well, but yeah, but just quickly, I think I started to mention the whole notion of the genocidal iceberg that the Dr. Avsita was discussing, and I think this the whole there are enablers of genocide, and then the iceberg has been information for at least for 75 years and probably longer, and like every complicity on the way has shaped this current moment, and that includes like university administrators, etc. But also, I think any like within our own communities, like there are many much assimilationism and like collusions, and I think it is very important for us to kind of at least to like to expose what has been going on in order for us to be able to address it, and so power mapping that Dr. Kamara was talking about, I think that needs to be historical too, like that we need to go back to 75 years, like, and how this whole system has been made, and then I think that's part of what is needed, but also like the ongoing assimilationism, careerism, and like people might not think too much, like it's like we want career, but then that is actually is contributing or like to the formation of the iceberg, and I think we need to think about the connection. And also, last thing I wanted to say, just I can't talk much about it, but I think when we talk about medical system, another huge group of people are patients, and I wanted to actually talk about like how patients we have a right to get the medical care, which is not contingent on genocide of like Palestinians, and like our life shouldn't be our well-being must not be contingent on the killing, like a genocide of like Palestinians and medical apartheid of those those who are colonized and who are those oppressed. And I think so there's much that patients must organize and say against this medical industrial complex, and like that is that is leading the necropolitics right now, and also like as Fanon said, like colonial medicine, it's like in that situation, like doctors are settlers, and so and then now here we are hearing that like doctors who are like the oppressed and doctors who are standing with the oppressed. I think that I think it's very important for us to build that movement. Like as everyone was saying, I'm sorry, like I'm just kind of going off, but so I think I do think that this movement is important, and like every one of us has a part to play. So Dr. Abdulhadi, I'm
just going to agree with everybody and be very thankful and appreciative and extend a lot of love and really gratitude for everybody who joined us with all the work that everybody does and the healing that doctors give the word. And especially, I'm talking about Dr. Karama, Dr. Nidal, Dr. Yazan, because I do know that Dr. Yazan is doing it already in Cuba and will be doing it in Palestine, and above all, Dr. Hassam Abu Safiya and all his colleagues who are present today doing it and who have done it in the past and who are risking their lives. I want to just affirm everything that everybody has said. So, not to repeat, I would just like us to continue collaborating with each other. As Dr. Nidal said, we don't really have any other option. We cannot have inaction. We have to stop the genocide, work with each other, continue doing it. It's been an honor and a privilege, and I'm sure I learned a lot. I'm sure my students learned a lot. We are so privileged to have you all. I'm thankful to my colleague, Dr. Tomomi Kanakawa. I'm thankful to all of you for coming here. Thank you, Laith. Thank you, Lean, for setting this up. thank you for everybody who made the time. And long live Palestine, freedom for all, stop the genocide.